Good evening, everyone. Welcome to First Church of Religious Science. Welcome to our Thursday evening self-healing class, our Louise Hay class, built upon the work of Louise Hay and the book You Can Heal Your Life. This evening's title is Build Unshakable Self-Love. So this evening, whether you're joining us on Zoom, as many of you are, most of you are, or if you're catching up with us later, as another big group of you are, we're thrilled to have you with us. Now we're in the near future. We get all of your messages. We appreciate all your compliments, your comments, your feedback. However you're viewing us or however you're participating, it's not an accident that you're here for you today. I'm absolutely sure there's something here for everyone. First, I want to mention, in case you're new, we meet here 3 times a week, Wednesday evenings at 7. James, our practitioner here, facilitates our Creative Living series. That's at 7 o'clock. And today, as you know, our self-healing class based upon Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. If you ever feel inspired to support the work we do, we welcome your financial support, contributions. And if you look on your screens in the chat room, there are options there for you to support us if you can. You don't have to. So the big thing is that you're here, and you're getting the messages, and you're getting the support, you're getting the reminders. Today we're going to walk through 6 powerful guides that'll help you build unshakable self-love so you can live your life from a place of strength, peace, and purpose. At the center of my being, a quiet love flows, unshaken by the winds of doubt, a light I always know. Living consciously is about waking to the life that you're living, not just going through the motions, but really being present. Trying to be present more often, to be still and know that you are God. So we want to learn to slow down. There was an old song, slow down, you move too fast. You want to make the morning last. I'm sure some of people my age can remember it. But we want to do that a little bit more. We want to live consciously. So living consciously, again, is about waking up to the life you're living and being present to it. If you're so busy you can't experience any joy, or if you're busy like that, you're too busy. Too often, we're stuck on autopilot, reacting to everything around us without really thinking, without feeling. But guess what? The real power, your power, is in your awareness. So we talk about consciousness, we talk about awareness. So we want to take those pauses so we can reflect. I suggest doing it several times, if not many times in a day, just for a moment or two. Take that pause that refreshes, take that pause where you can center yourself in the awareness and you realize, I am, there's power within me and it responds to me. So again, your real power is in your awareness. When you live more consciously, you step into the now. And right now is where you have the ability to do anything and everything. You have the ability to choose thoughts that will uplift you, thoughts that lead to healing and growth. Imagine this, if you will. Instead of waking up and going right into the stress of the day, the alarm clock goes off and you just run and it starts and you brush your teeth. You just run. What if you could just start your morning off with a deep breath, setting a clear idea, maybe even say thank you, or a positive statement or a positive intention for how you want your day to go. If you could just slow down from the beginning. Living consciously like that changes everything. Those small things can make a huge difference. Living consciously would be where you stop reacting and start creating. As you do this, you become the one who's in charge of your experience, instead of being at the mercy of everything that's happening all around you. I've got a few examples to bring this message to life. Let's say you're getting ready for the day. The alarm goes off that I just spoke of, or the alarm didn't go off, even worse. There's kids yelling, you're running, and you feel like you're late. Normally you'd rush around, to deal with the chaos, feeling anxious and frustrated. But if you do it differently, if you live consciously, that means hitting this pause, the pause that we always talk about, taking a breath, and deciding, how do I want to show up right now? You know there's craziness there if you let it, and you could say, no, I could see peace instead of this. I can stop right now and start again. We don't want to always be reacting in frustration. In this teaching of Science Mind, as we learn to love ourselves more, we want to become more mindful, and we want to come from a place of connection and calm. We want to make the choice to respond with understanding or love, and then we transform the whole situation. And we do have that power. Here's another example. You've had a rough day at work, if you can imagine. And your immediate reaction, you're going home, you're feeling stressed out, overwhelmed, and sometimes just depleted or defeated. Living consciously would mean taking a moment to step back, take a breath, take a pause, and ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? It's because you're going in a negative direction with your thinking. How can I shift this into something that actually helps me? Well, I automatically have trained myself to go to gratitude as quick as I'm in a moment like that. Instead of spiraling into stress, you could choose a thought or an affirmation that will empower you. You could say to yourself, you're stressed. I got this. I'm not going to worry about it. I've got this. This is okay. I've faced challenges like this before. You could tell yourself, I've been through I've been through this before, and I've made it through. I can handle this one too. So this is part of that healthy dialogue that I speak of every week. When I ask you, what's it been like being you? As you're learning to love yourself more and more, you're really attempting to have your inner dialogue change. So I've given you a couple examples of some of the things you can say and do instead of having whatever is going on spiral into something worse. We want to de-stress. We want to choose thoughts or affirmations that will empower us. Now think about this for a second. How would your life change if you fully embraced each moment with awareness? If you slowed it down and you were much more conscious of each moment, how would your life change? What new possibilities would open up, do you think, if starting today, you chose to live consciously? If you chose to take more time out so you were much more aware, what new possibilities would open up for you? What would your relationships be like if you were less reactive and if you were more thoughtful? How would your life again change if you fully embraced each moment, if you slowed down and realized, I could be here now fully. I could react less. So those are some good questions to consider. Louise Hay, I'll quote her, she said, self-acceptance and self-approval in the now are the keys to all positive changes. Self-acceptance and self-approval. So we're always working on that, accepting ourselves with all of our faults, with all our good things, all the good qualities and everything else. Self-acceptance and self-approval in the now. Realizing we're always going to be evolving and growing. None of us do everything perfect all the time. The shift here is we're getting out of the criticism. We're letting all that stuff go. We're moving towards self-acceptance. And it's one of the greatest gifts you can ever give yourself. In a world where we're constantly told to be more of something, more successful, more attractive, more accomplished. The world wants us to be more of something. It's so easy to get caught up in this cycle of self-rejection and self-criticism. So we want to release all of that. So let me tell you this. Unshakable self-love, which is today's title, begins with accepting yourself exactly as you are, flaws and all. One of the most powerful tools that were ever done in the Louise Hay classes I was a part of was when they were using or doing mirror work. Louise would encourage us again to stand in front of a mirror and look directly into your eyes and say, I love, accept, and approve of you exactly as you are. And I've done that before. Right? If you're going to say it for yourself, yeah, you do it that way. I love, accept, and approve of you exactly as you are, because you're speaking into the mirror to yourself. In the mirror, you'll be critical of yourself. So challenging yourself to do this and offering yourself love could feel foreign to you in the beginning. But that's the beauty of a process like this. Mirror work, like everything else we do here, is a journey, and it's a practice. In religious science, we practice the presence. We practice seeing the God, the good, in everything and everyone and all the time. So it's practice. We are practitioners. We work with we work with affirmative prayer. We work with affirmations. We're learning to live the affirmative life. When we're dealing with affirmations in a mirror, you find a quiet moment in your day and just stand in front of a mirror. Or maybe you have a moment and you can go into the bathroom and look deeply into your eyes, and not just a glance, but take a real steady gaze and begin by saying, I love, accept, and approve of you just the way you are. Or I love, accept you. I love and accept you just the way you are. If it feels difficult, you can say, I'm learning to love and accept you. So all of this is a practice. We're practitioners after all. It's not a one-time thing. The more you do it, the more comfortable, I'm talking about mirror work or affirmations now, or even affirmative prayer. The more you do it, the more comfortable it becomes, and the more you open yourself up to true self-acceptance. Louise Hay often said, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. Her teaching reminds us that self-love isn't something you earn or deserve only after you've fixed yourself. So it's not like I'm going to love myself after I get married or after I lose 20 pounds. It's not that like that at all. Her teachings remind us, again, that self-love is not something you earn or you deserve only after you've solved the problems or fixed yourself. You are worthy of love right now. You're worthy of love, acceptance, and approval right now, just the way you are. You might say, I'm unforgivable, I've done this, I've done that, and I want you to release all that whenever you do it and say, I'm worthy. I love myself the way I am. That was another lyric to one of our songbooks. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing I need to rearrange. So what she was trying to have us see in those songbooks, that self-love isn't something you earn or deserve after you have, improved yourself, fixed yourself up. You're worthy of this just because you are one with this one essence. You are an individualization of this love, this power. No matter where you are on your journey, and we're all in a place of journey, and through our lives, we've gone through some tough stuff, and some of it wasn't fun, right? But wherever it is, it's been perfect because you've always been doing the best you can in your journey of growth and spiritual development. So never, never, never criticize yourself, because all of it is a spiritual adventure, and everyone's in the perfect right place. So here we're talking about self-responsibility. It is the bedrock of unshakable self-love. So Louise Hay would say we're each 100% responsible for our life. So we're learning that it's not going to change unless we change it. Change our thinking and we will change our life. Ernest Holmes would say there's power for good in the universe and you can use it because you're a part of this one power, but you have to realize it's responding to you all the time. So we want to realize, it's for us to do it. It begins with us. It's the bedrock of having unshakable self-love. It's about recognizing that each of us are centers, each of us are creators of our own lives. So yes, you may not think you have power, you have incredible power to shape and create your life. No one has the power to change your life like you do. The moment we choose to take full responsibility for our thinking, our feelings, and our actions is the moment everything changes for the better. You stop feeling like life is happening to you, and you start understanding that life is happening through you. That's an important idea. The moment you choose to take full responsibility for your life, meaning your thinking, your feelings, and your actions, is the very moment everything changes for the better. You stop again feeling like life is happening to you, like poor me, and you start to understand that life is happening through you, through your consciousness. That's where your power always is. That's where it always lies. It's in the choices you make. It's in the ways you respond. It's how you think. Every single moment, as you know, is a new and holy moment. Every moment is a fresh chance to reclaim your power and to steer your life in the direction that you want to go. So let's look at an example, a real world example. I think many of us can think of a challenging time in our life, maybe relationships of one kind or another. Could be a partner, could be a cousin, brother, sister, anybody really, a family member. Or it could even be someone you work with. Think of a time where you've been in a challenging situation with someone. And it's easy in those moments to fall into the trap of thinking, if only they would stop, if only they would change, if only they would just, I would be happy. I could be happy if they would just do this or that. But here's the thing. Self-responsibility will ask different things of us, different questions. It will ask us to ask ourselves, what can I do differently? Because you're not going to change them. What can I do differently? How am I contributing to this dynamic? Or how can I change my approach to create peace for myself? See, those are creative solutions that will really help you. What can I do differently? How am I contributing to this situation or this particular dynamic? Or how can I change my approach to create a more peaceful outcome for myself? It's not about taking on blame, and it's about stepping into your own power and realizing you have control over your happiness. Remember, you could see peace instead of whatever. You could be happy. You could choose it. But we too easily go into those traps where we blame and we give our power away. So it's not always easy. We make mistakes. We won't do it perfectly all the time, but it is the key to true transformation. When you own your experience, you own your power. Again, when you own your experience, you own your power. So you want your power. You don't want to give your power away. As Louise so brilliantly said years ago, you are the only person who thinks in your mind. You are the power and you are the authority in your world. Those are two very powerful lines. You are the only person who thinks in your mind, and you are the power and the authority in your world. That means no one else controls your thoughts. You are the one who's in the driver's seat, and at any moment you can shift your energy from negativity and blame to thoughts of love, healing, and empowerment. The next step I want to talk about this evening is self-assertiveness. It's important to have some. Self-assertiveness means standing tall in your truth and expressing it boldly. See, this is one of the things that's great about religious science. We're not here to become wallflowers. I love Emerson. You hear me quote him all the time when he talks about God help us when a real thinker is let loose on the countryside. Because we're all here we are all inlets and outlets of this divine activity. We're originals. We're individualizations of this one creative energy. So we want to find our voice. We want to learn how to assert it. So this principle that I'm talking about, the fourth one today, is self-assertiveness means standing tall in our truth and expressing it without fear, boldly. So it's about having the courage to speak up for yourself, to honor your needs, and to live authentically, no matter what. This is tough sometimes because I know in my own life, and I know many of the people I've worked with, not real quick to find our voice. There's stronger voices around. But this is important as we develop and love ourselves, is to learn how to be a little bit more assertive and stand tall in our truth and learn how to express ourselves more dynamically. It's about having the courage, again, to speak up for ourselves, to honor our needs, and to live a little bit more authentically, no matter what. Otherwise, you can see yourself being in some really lopsided relationships where you stifle your voice, and it's not healthy for you. Many of us have learned early on to keep quiet, to not rock the boat, or to shrink ourselves so we won't be judged or rejected. But here's the thing: when you do that, when you do that as a way of being, when you suppress your voice, you suppress your power. So know that with me. When you suppress your voice, if this is your way, you're suppressing your power. And ultimately, that's all going to fall apart. You're going to be resentful. It just doesn't, in the long run, it doesn't work for you. Assertiveness doesn't mean being pushy necessarily or aggressive. That's not needed. But it's about becoming more clear and having a little bit more courage. It's about lovingly and confidently stating what you need and knowing that your voice matters. Now, I don't know that everyone knows that on the call, but I'm here to tell you, God doesn't make junk. Your voice is, you're an individualization of this wonderful life, meaning there's never been another like you. Your voice is important. You want to love yourself enough that you find your voice and you begin to express it. And we want to do it confidently. When you begin to assert yourself a bit more and more, you send a message out to the world, which is, to the world and also to yourself sometimes, that I'm worthy of being heard. And you're saying that to the world as well. You might think about a time where you stayed silent, even though you knew it really would have been good if you opened up and spoke. It could have been in a relationship or at work, could have been when you were younger, it could have been recently. You didn't want to maybe be seen as a person who was difficult or demanding, but what if in that moment you had stood in your truth and just quietly said what you had to say? What would have happened if you'd spoken clearly and lovingly, owning your own needs, realizing you're important too? Speaking up for yourself is an act of self-respect. And I don't talk about this too much, but it's really important. I'm glad I included it in this lesson. Speaking up for yourself is an act of self-respect. It's you showing up for you. Again, speaking up for yourself is an act of self-love. It's an act of self-respect. It's you showing up for you. And when you start to do that, you're teaching other people how to treat you as well. And more importantly, you remind yourself of your inherent worth. Ernest Holmes, our founder, said, life is going to mirror and reflect back to you. You're the thinker. Life is going to mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what they think into it. So when we assert ourselves, we reflect self-love into the world, and the world reflects it right back to us. So here's a question for all of us. Where in our life can we start asserting our truth more boldly? Now, when I say that, you can be doing it lovingly, but where can we show up and sparkle a little bit more, where we can assert our truth more boldly? What would change, for example, if you honored your voice more and if you expressed yourself a little bit more confidently? Those are good questions to consider. There's good stuff that comes up as you contemplate these kind of questions. I have an affirmation for you after you consider where in your life you've held your voice back or you're currently holding your voice back. The affirmation that I would like you to say or repeat after me, after you've considered this, is, I speak my truth with love and confidence. Again, I speak my truth with love and confidence. My voice is valuable. Yes, my voice is valuable, and I deserve to be heard. My voice is valuable, and I deserve to be heard. So this class about loving ourselves is learning to build our self-esteem and to live more purposefully. It's about making choices that truly reflect who we are at the core. Because if we understand that we're an individualization of God's life, that we're an individualization of this spectacular energy, we want to make choices that reflect knowing who we are. It's not about making grand gestures or waiting for big moments or trying to impress anyone. It's simply about aligning our everyday actions with what matters most to you from your heart. When you're living a life that's on track or on purpose, you're creating a life that feels meaningful. And even if you're doing small things, it's meaningful to you. It's meaningful. So think about it. Purpose doesn't have to mean you're out changing the world. Doesn't have to mean that at all. It can be as simple as choosing to live each day with kindness. It can be as simple as living each day with gratitude and with awareness, where you're going through the day and you're saying, thank you, thank you. You're seeing the good, the God in many, many things. So it can be as simple as that. It's about showing up for yourself in the moments of life throughout your day with love. Wouldn't that be wonderful if your day was interspersed with more moments of appreciation and a sense of connection with life and source? I know some of you like Kat, you're in nature, you're seeing it every day. But give yourself those gifts throughout the day. It can be in nature. You can bring nature right into your mind. You can bring it to you, but it's taking those pauses and allowing yourself to show up in these moments and have these little resets where you bring yourself to the awareness of love. Here's another one. Picture this. Have you ever had a day where everything was falling apart, or I'll say it another way, where everything was a blur? You wake up, it was a run through the day, and you went through the whole day feeling like, I don't know, something was missing. It was such a hurried experience. So imagine starting the same day over with just starting with a moment of reflection. You pause, you inhale, you exhale, and you get your bearings, you set an intention for how you want to show up. What if you just started like that each day? Maybe today, for example, you decide to be just a little bit more patient. You center yourselves, or maybe you want to bring more joy into your interactions. That small mindful choice at the beginning of a day can shift the entire day. Living purposefully means bringing your heart and your attention into the present moment. Now ask yourself, what would change in my life if I lived every day with purpose? What would change in my life if I lived every day with purpose, if I was just a little bit more conscious? And I were trying to live myself in alignment, realizing I'm one with this one. What would change if I really attempted to live each day with a sense of purpose? How different would your day feel if they were filled with more days like this, with more intention? These are questions just for you to reflect on. And here's an affirmation for all of us. I live with purpose and clarity. So as you can have these moments to reflect each day, sometimes it's good to do them in the evening too. These little timeouts, these pauses, where you can reflect on what would change in your life if you lived each day in connection, I'll say, in connection with source and with purpose. How would your days feel if they were filled with more of this conscious activity, more intention? So we affirm together, I live with purpose and I live with clarity. And the next one for this section is my actions reflect my highest values. So if you're in connection, you're living in connection, you're in connection, you are living your life with greater clarity and purpose, and then your actions are going to reflect these values. I have one more point in this particular lesson. It's about developing personal integrity, and that's also tied into being true to yourself, your voice. In personal integrity, from the Four Agreements, you might remember there's a passage about trying to be impeccable with your word. This is the same idea where you have a sense of alignment between what you believe and what you value and how you attempt to live. When your actions, your day-to-day living reflect your values, you start to trust yourself more deeply. And that trust is the very foundation of self-love. Living in greater integrity means attempting to follow through on things, follow through on your word, to yourself, of course, and to others. It means making an honest attempt to be honest about what your needs are, expressing them to people, and also what you stand for. When you begin to more and more honor your truth, you build strength within, and that strength will lead to deeper love and respect for yourself. I have another question. Think back to a moment in your life where you were saying yes to something. Maybe you're saying yes to a lot of things, even though you didn't really want to do it, or your heart was saying, no, I don't want to do it. Maybe it was because you didn't want to disappoint a loved one, Or maybe it was you didn't want to disappoint a boss. Maybe you didn't feel you had the strength, or you felt pressure to go along with the crowd, or you just felt you didn't have a voice. Now, I'd like you to imagine the power of living in a way where your words and your actions align with your true desires and your values. I'd like you to imagine yourself living in a world where you say yes only when you mean yes, and where you confidently say no when you mean no. See, that's the power of integrity. When you live in alignment with your truth, you're going to feel more grounded, more empowered, and you're going to feel more connected to yourself. This is what we'll call self-love in action. So you can ask yourself another important question. Where can I bring more integrity into my life? And how would it feel to live in a way that will honor my inner truth, when yes is yes and no is no? So there's another couple of good questions to reflect on. These are all things just to write down, to think about. You can work with your affirmations and your releases. So let's affirm this one. And this is one about bringing in more sense of integrity, alignment, and how it would feel to live that way. Here's the affirmation for you. I live in alignment with my truth. Starting now, starting today, I live in greater alignment with my truth. So that's a great positive intention. Followed by, I trust myself and I honor my inner wisdom. That's beautiful. I trust myself and I honor my inner wisdom. I love, accept, and approve of myself. I trust myself and I honor my inner wisdom. So those are the main points as we wrap up today's lesson. I'm building unshakable self-love. Let's take a moment to bring everything full circle. We've explored living with purpose, integrity. We've explored living with self-awareness. So purpose, integrity, and self-awareness, all this will guide us to create a life that's filled with peace, strength, and love. So now I want to ask you, as I always ask you, every single Thursday, what's it been like being you this week? What has it been like being you this week? What's the conversation been like with the most important person in the world, with you, which is, of course, you? So take a deep breath and reflect on that. What has it been like being you? Think about the way you've spoken to yourself, the kindnesses or lack of kindnesses with your inner dialogue, and how you've shown up for your own being, for your own heart. Are there places you need to shift towards more love, more self-acceptance, more compassion? These are all questions only you can answer, but I will tell you, you have the power to turn all of it around. So we have a closing affirmative statement for you. Let's anchor all these thoughts of today into an affirmative prayer, and I always do it in the first person. I know that I'm one with infinite love, the infinite love of the universe. This love flows through me, it surrounds me, it fills every part of my being. I choose to embrace this love fully, trusting that it guides me, it protects me, nurtures me. I trust that I'm enough. I trust that I'm more than enough, just the way I am. I release the need to criticize myself. I trust that I'm enough, just the way I am. I know I'm worthy of all the good life has to offer. I release any doubt, any fear, and I step fully into this love, knowing it is always with me, always present, always supporting me. I give thanks for this love, for this truth, and I move forward with confidence, knowing I'm held in love, and so it is. So now, before we turn the cameras over to everyone, I invite you to reflect deeply. What's it been like being you this week? Again, think about your inner dialogue and how you've treated yourself on this journey of self-love. So that's it. You might talk about what shifts you might make in your thoughts or actions to show yourself more love, more self-care, more peace, more patience. So I hope everybody shares. There's usually a couple minutes for everyone. If you're new, please say hello, what state you're from, where you're from, so we can say hi, welcome. So now it's all with you. Thank you, everyone, for being here.